We're at the Talking Heads in Southampton on the 1st of May. So have you played, we've just spoken about whether you've played in Southampton before, have you played at the Talking Heads before?
Yes, we have. Yeah, last time we played here we had a really great show, so we've been looking forward to coming back again, because we've got quite a solid fan base here, and they was really up for rocking out with us.
Brilliant, okay, fantastic. And you've done a couple of dates so far?
This is our sixth gig of the tour.
And how's it going?
It's been going really great. Yeah.
Good reception and everybody loving it?
Really warm reception everywhere we've been. Yeah,
fantastic.
I think my favourite gig so far has been in Glasgow Audio. That was the biggest crowd, and it was just one of those really buzzy nights.
I've heard good things about Glasgow actually. Lots of like decent
there's a
places
good
now and
rock crowd there and some nice venues. Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. So you are just about to release your 4th album.
Yeah.
The Opposites of Light. I think
Correct.
I'm going to be reviewing that as well, so I look forward to that.
Awesome.
That's due out in a few days. So what can your fans, both old and new, expect from that from that album? Showing my age.
Well, quite a lot really, because originally we were going to do it as a double album. There's a lot of new material that's a new style for us that we wanted to do, because it is the 4th album. We've been going a while now, and we didn't want to get stuck in the same rut. Okay. But then we thought it'd be mean to do something completely new and leave followers completely in the dust. So we wanted to. So in the end we thought, okay, we'll do some material that's more traditional to us, and then we'll do this new stuff that we want to explore. So it ended up with a 16-track album, which for us is quite a long one. And we sort of cut it into 2 halves, sort of sun and moon, and sort of trying to encourage people to occasionally, depending on what mood you are in, you either start it at track 1 or you start it at track 9.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
so quite a lot.
I think we've really pushed ourselves on this record, and I've certainly really showcased my vocals on it, so that's something people can enjoy.
Well, you've got a great voice, so it's.
Well, thank you.
It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to hear it. I'm quite new to you, so.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight, because I haven't seen you before, so it's my first time.
Oh, brilliant.
It's a fluid gig, so it should be really, really good.
Nice one.
But we'll look forward to that then. Fantastic. So when you're writing for your new records, there's that word again, what sort of influences do you draw on in the writing process?
Well, we don't believe in limiting ourselves in any way to any sort of specific genre, so we've just, taken all the things that we're into and explored those. So there's, it touches on metal and post-punk, which is what people know us for, but also, it's got Egyptian violins on it and all sorts of other
sound design elements, really.
Yeah.
So we took control of the production on this one, so that we could really experiment with sound things as well as songwriting things. But it's not really. I think it's more things from other sides of life that influence the songwriting. I mean, there's some very definite themes. We generally do write from the vocal first, but things around that. So if Grog's coming up with a lyric or I'm coming up with a lyric, then things kind of develop around that.
A lot of the themes came from because I moved to America about 5 years ago, and so when I was doing a lot of the writing, it was influenced by my impressions of that relocation. So, but there's lots of different things within that. Black Blizzard, for instance, was inspired by my interest in the Dust Bowl of the 1930s,
right?
And then that kind of goes into this whole sort of messing with nature kind of theme, and then also there's kind of a general apocalyptic kind of thing going on across the whole thing in the background, and then also sort of Native American themes as well, and so there's quite a lot going on in there to explore.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So I did actually put something out on Twitter and ask if anybody had any questions for you as well. And a couple of people came back and tweeted stuff to ask. So
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll be in trouble if I don't. I mean, it's perfectly normal stuff. Don't worry, it's nothing weird. I was a bit worried. I thought, but no. Well, actually, it kind of draws on what I've just said. Really, they were asking about sort of what bands have influenced your music, as opposed to how you enjoy your writing, what you enjoy your writing from, but what sort of bands do you sort of listen to whilst you're in the creative process?
Well, I actually tend to stop listening to other bands while I'm writing, because you tend to end up finding you've written something you've just been listening to. So, but in general, I listen to. We all really like Deftones. That's something we have in common. And then bands like The Cure that we grew up with, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. I was really into The Who. And I think we all quite like a lot of American bands, don't we, really? Soundgarden, that kind of stuff. But also just, we like all sorts of things. I listen to Debussy and Shirley Bassey and just stuff, anything that kind of inspires you. And, Jeff Buckley I love, Perfect Circle.
And so you've got quite a wide range of things that you like listening to, then, classical and everything else.
Yeah, I don't want to deny myself anything. I'll check everything out and just see whether it makes my spine tingle.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think that's better, isn't it? Sometimes for the creative process, if you're listening to lots of different things rather than just being sort of stuck in a rut with one type of music, then it's always going to be hard
to metal all the time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many bands that just all sound the same these days, so we never want to fall into that.
No. Okay, brilliant. All right. So if obviously I'm a new fan, as I've already admitted. So if there's anybody out there that's sort of thinking of coming to see you and they haven't seen you before, what sort of songs, if you had to pick like 3 songs really of yours, what would you recommend people to listen to get them started before they
Probably Mercury, because that's a very in-your-face rockin' track. It's very immediate. And that really sort of gives you an indication of what a live show is like. And any other faves you two can suggest?
Well, I've just done that are online with videos of those ones. It would be that one and Existential Baby.
Yeah.
Probably Black Blizzard, I'd say,
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Does that kind of sum up your sort of overall?
I guess.
I mean, there's certain songs where, okay, so we haven't made a video for Gang of One. That's a track that we always, for a long time, we've either opened or ended the set with it, because it does kind of go through the whole sound of the band, as it were. It's got like the heavy riff kind of element, but it's also got the big soaring encoder
melody,
and some weird time signature stuff as well. So it's kind of got a lot of the elements that normally we just have them in separate songs, in the one song, working quite well in that one.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Okay. Another fan question.
Yes.
Well, actually, it might overlap with that. What are your favourite songs to perform live? And do you have any favourites sort of off of each album?
Yeah, well, the ones that we've mentioned are probably, like you say, they overlap. But we really enjoy playing Not Everybody Gets a Happy Ending live. It's really popular live, that one, and it's very emotive. So it's great fun to do. Any others?
Well, I mean, we just, on this tour, for the first time, been playing this song, which is Were Bullets.
Oh, yeah.
Live. We hadn't played that. And it's quite a simple song, really, but I quite enjoy that, and, we just all get in a groove together and, I enjoy listening to Grog sing it. It's just, something quite raw about that song, and, I guess because we've never really played it much before, so...
Yeah.
So certain songs, you sort of play them a bit just to get them ready for the album, and then that's it. You never play them again. I mean, there's certain songs we've never played live. We just recorded them and moved on.
It just happens because after 3 albums, there's so many songs, and it's really difficult to narrow it down to what you're going to play in for a live set.
Do you feel some songs get shelved sort of almost sometimes when you're used to playing a set and then you think, oh, you rediscover a song?
That has happened a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some things that just we played them at the beginning, and and then as you know, then we'll probably never go back to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, on this new album, there's going to be lots of things which I don't know. We'll play live, and not
Some work and some don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got to see what's going to work live, and as much as I really like the actual songs and the recording, yeah, it's just not something that's going to get a crowd going or that we can reproduce. You know.
There's some songs that are sparser you would probably want to have more sort of production stuff for, like fancier lighting and stuff like that to really put the song across. And unless you have a budget for that kind of stuff, then you don't really want to do it.
Why does money always have to get in the way?
Yeah, bloody money.
I know.
You want to do the songs justice live as well, don't you? So if you haven't got that behind you, like you say, you don't want people to sort of, you know, not really get a song because you can't produce it in the same way that you would.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd like to think in the future though that we could do more of those kind of songs, you know. But at the moment, like, I feel like people expect a really storming fucking, you know, set from us, and not a kind of introspective thing. But you know, I'd love to do something one day with actual sort of live strings and all that kind of stuff. It'd be amazing.
I mean, this is the first tour where we've gone out and we've used, we've got backing track for 2 of the songs because they've got huge string arrangements on from the new album. But
So we are.
I mean, you know,
venturing down that road.
yeah, but that's the first time in, you know, however long we've been going that we've used backing track for anything. So, and that's fine. I mean, I haven't really sort of talked to anyone. No one's sort of like come up afterwards and gone, whoa, you know, what are you doing? You know, like you've always been like just a live 3-piece. So I guess people, you know, just accept it as something that, yeah, another tool that you can use live nowadays.
Yeah, it's gone down really well so far on this tour.
Good. Okay. Growing as a band, definitely.
Yes.
Start to add elements and
Maturing. I hate that word.
yeah. So you mentioned already, I mean, I know as well that you live in, is it LA?
Yeah.
That you live in. So you've done that for about 5 years, was it?
Yes.
3 to 5 years? Yeah,
Yeah.
5 years. So do you find that it's hard, obviously you guys are still over here, do you find it's hard to remain sort of cohesive as a band? Because you've all got different things that you do outside of Diso Fluid as well. So is it sort of hard to get back into the swing of things when you all get
Well, obviously
back
it presents
together?
its problems.
Yeah.
You know?
just a few?
But I kind of like the way that when we come together, it's more exciting, and it makes you appreciate that time that you have together and make the most out of it, because you got to really go for it, you know. So you sort of have to do a lot of planning ahead, and we get together and do rehearsals before we do a tour, and it's like a block of time. And it's been different for the writing process, but even that I think has had its benefits. I've certainly learnt a lot through doing that different kind of recording process, and it's been quite interesting.
Okay. So you do find that, you know, it's like you've never been away sort of thing, there's no sort of
No, well, we're just this
get used to each other again? Or?
weird Adams family kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of get together so long. I mean, honestly, it's like from the first note, the first rehearsal, everything just sinks back together.
Yeah.
Because we've just, you
Fantastic.
know, just been in each other's skin forever, really.
Yeah.
So that's fine. As long as I mean, you know, we don't really do a lot outside of the band in terms of playing nowadays. Maybe we should do more just to sort of keep our, you know, fingers, you know, working and so on. But you know, it doesn't ever seem to be a problem when we get back together.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Nice, yeah. Okay. I did have a question about sort of obviously being a female-fronted band, but you must get asked so much whether you sort of encounter any prejudice because of that, or I mean, another band I interviewed recently, they have a female singer, and she was kind of like, oh, not this question again. So I'm not really sure if I wanted to ask it, but I kind of do in a way, because everybody has different sort of ways that they deal with that, I guess, and you must encounter some sort of, well, I'm not saying you must, I mean, do you encounter any sort of prejudice where people haven't seen you really, or they just make judgments before they see you live?
I think
or...
that's reflected in the fact that we just didn't, it's like there's kind of been a bit of a glass ceiling for us in this band. But, you know, luckily I've got a fairly sort of innocent side to my nature, which has meant that I haven't become too bitter and twisted because of it. But I do feel that it has affected us, and that maybe some opportunities haven't been thrown our way that we should have. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think I think it would be stupid to say that doesn't exist. I mean, especially in the metal world.
Yeah, very true. It's a certain kind of person that listens to female-fronted rock. It's a certain kind of bloke that listens to female-fronted rock.
Is that?
And they're a minority, I think. And I think a lot of people don't. A lot of fellas don't like it, and I think sometimes don't even realise why they don't like it. But
Because
they
they
just don't want a girl shouting at them. I think they sang nicely and
Get married,
jigged about a bit. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
there is an element of that.
you mean like people think that that's what the music's going to sound like?
Well, no, not this.
So I think also it's perception, because like when you're female fronted, like she's the leader of the gang, and I don't think guys want to accept that necessarily. So when a girl's like marketed in more as, I mean, if she'd gone out as Claude Blissé, I think we probably would have been a bit more successful, to be honest, because people are much more used to, or more. They're more accepting of a woman being marketed in a kind of as a female solo artist, to be honest.
Yes, for some reason that's okay, but it's not okay for it to be accepted in this format in the heavier rock world, which is really depressing. But the only way you can carry on is just to ignore that and not give a shit about it. But it has to be said that that's true.
It's getting better though. There are more sort of female, I hate that expression actually, female fronted bands, but there are more sort of popping up,
Yeah, there are more, but it's
Still
a
not
long and
enough.
slow grueling process. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I can't really think of that many who are successful in the same way as all the thousands of
No, exactly, exactly.
So you've got Paramore and you've got all the other bands. Paramore
Yeah,
are the only mega successful.
I mean, that's
female
verging
fronted,
on
really.
pop, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
I suppose.
Well, it's
So-
not virgin, it is a pop band.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, the Dirty Youth, I mean, that's who I was just speaking about this with before, but they're sort of coming up quite quickly now. And Danny was like, I hate that question, but you kind of think, well, you must sort of see that, and it must be really annoying. But yeah, just thought I'd ask.
So I think there's. I mean, I hope that it will. That kind of hold will be broken. I mean, I know sort of the people, the old guard of rock, who's still sort of like presiding over, the Metal Hammers and the Kerrangs of this world, and they're very much their attitude. Some of those guys who are very well-known names in rock critics, as rock critics, their attitude is women can't rock, and so as soon as those fuckers go, then all these bands will be able to come through. And I'm sure like young bands like the one you just talked about, they'll have an easier time.
It's difficult. It's also, it's like a double-edged sword when they do these like females in bands interviews where they'll get like 3 of them together, like, oh, it's really unusual, and that just sort of exacerbates this weird idea that it's unusual. But is it unusual? No, because there's like this whole underground network of bands that are just being kept at that level somehow. It's just weird.
That's patronising as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
and then
also,
they'll go, but we're sticking up for you, and it's like you can't win,
Yeah, no win situation. Okay. So you've got quite a presence in Finland, haven't you? You've got quite a growing fan base over there.
Yeah.
Is that because of the connection with Parole Records, or have you always been? I only ask that because I'm particularly fond of Finland myself, so I just.
Yeah, we love it. Our
Nice
manager lives in Helsinki, and so we went over there to do some shows, and they just kind of got us straight away. So
You're going back.
yeah.
You're going over there again next month,
we're
aren't
going
you?
in September. Yeah,
Nice.
really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Lovely place. So when you're sort of on your downtime, when you're off back to America and you're doing whatever, what do you do to sort of switch off and just not? Do you just completely switch off from music, or how do you?
I never really switch off. That's my nature. I think I'm constantly sort of coming up with ideas, and I'm just a very creative person. So when I'm not writing music, then I don't know if you know, but I make jewellery and I'm a silversmith as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, so I have an Etsy shop and I sell jewellery on there, and I make clothes and design things, and so I'm kind of constantly on the go creatively, and I think one thing feeds another as well. So it just keeps turning over. yeah, so I guess I'd call myself a general kind of artist in a sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll be. Am I overrunning? I am overrunning.
Need to grab something from the fridge.
All right,
I didn't
no
want to
worries.
disturb too much.
Brilliant. Well, I'll actually check out your jewellery.
Oh yeah, do.
So
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's the shop's closed at the moment because I'm away, but
Yeah.
in a few weeks we're really open.
Brilliant. I'll have a look.
Yeah.
So you're playing at Alt Fest this year?
Yeah.
Any other festivals in the pipeline?
No.
Okay.
In a word.
Okay, but you're on the Sophie Lancaster stage, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah, which is great. We've been supporting that charity, you know, since we first heard about it.
Yeah, for a number of
um,
years, really. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also was asked to feature in a Women in Horror calendar, which is raising money for Sophie and also for Rape Crisis this year, which was great. So there's like horror writers and different people associated with horror in that calendar. We're selling it tonight.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Keep a lookout for that as well. So no other festivals so far?
No, we don't really have an agent as such at the moment. So, and we're doing a lot of stuff ourselves again. We're back to kind of DIY world. But you know, there's lots of things sort of in the works. So,
Bubbling away.
yeah.
Cool, brilliant. So what's been the biggest highlight? I mean, obviously you've been going for quite some time now, as you said, but what's been, I suppose it must be difficult to pick a standout moment, but what have been the best bits of Die So Fluid so far? Is there anything that you look back and think, wow, you know, well,
No.
I guess most of it.
I don't know, I look back and look, wow, but I mean, we've had some really good, you know, shows.
One of my favourite shows was that one we did in Camden. What was the place? Dingles. Yeah, that was like it felt like a real landmark show for us because it was just completely rammed and a really vibey show. And then, what were you going to say? Sorry?
No, just like some of the festivals we've done abroad, really. You know, we did this a really good one in Switzerland, and it's I don't know, we did a really really fun tour in America.
With Minor Self-Indulgence.
Yeah.
And we played all the House of Blues venues.
Yeah, I kind of
and
enjoyed every
really
minute of
great
that
shows.
tour, to be honest.
Yeah, that was all good.
Yeah.
We went down very well with their fans and it was just great, really fun tour.
Yeah. I think, I mean, you know, there's always little milestones. Just recently, we just finished last week a video which is for this new sound that we're exploring on the album, and so we're going for a very different looking video as well to what we've done in the past. There's no band performance in this. There's acting, me and Al aren't even in it. It's going to be Grog and this actor acting out a story. You know, and it's all like great locations, motorbikes, all kinds of stuff, and you know, so that's
Motorbikes.
yeah, it's all action, and you know, but so that's kind
So
of
the comics one.
No,
So it's
it's
a,
not.
This is a new one.
New.
Yeah, we won't put this out for a couple of months, but I think so. There's always things that that keep you ticking along. That that you just got to try different things. I think.
Yeah.
And that's something new, and I can't wait for people to see that and see what the reaction's going to be.
It's the most proper acting I've ever been asked to do, so it was kind of quite hard work, but really enjoyable at the same time.
So do you ride motorbikes then? For fun?
I
Or you
ride
on
on
the
the
back?
back of a motorbike,
Oh,
but
Okay,
I'm doing
haven't got
the
your
course
own.
actually when I go home.
Excellent.
So yes.
Nice. So I'm very jealous of that. It's something I'd love to do. But that was good fun though.
Do it.
Yeah, maybe next year.
I have to say the weather's better for it in California.
Yeah, I should imagine. Yeah. It's hideous over here, isn't it? Raining all the time. Be on the back of a bike. So just sort of a serious question, really, just to lead me to the end of my many questions. And people are bandying this around a lot at the moment, but I like to ask everyone that I speak to because everyone has a different take on it. So a lot of people are saying sort of the music industry as we know it is dying on its backside. I personally don't think it is. I think it's just changing and evolving, and that it will continue to do that in many different ways. How do you see things going with the music industry, sort of for the next 5 to 10 years? What do you think it will look like?
Ooh, what a question.
Yeah, it's not a very nice question, is it?
I think Drew's the most opinionated on this subject.
Yeah, unfortunately, my opinion changes daily.
Yeah.
But,
That's the thing. That's what's happening at the moment. Everyone's opinion is changing daily, because there's so many options.
Yeah, we've kind of really benefited recently from the changes that have been happening. In that we scooped up all our material and we'd licensed it to different people, and we sort of brought it all back home and set up our own label, and now we're selling it direct. We used one of those aggregators, Ditto we're using, to re-release all our records, Bandcamp, instantly getting paid, and that's a revolution. I mean, you sort of think about it, it's like when we all started in this, everybody trying to get signed by a record company, and if you didn't, then no one would ever hear your music. And now I can do it all. I mean, also a lot of this new record was produced at home on a computer, which everyone has. So we managed to sort of produce stuff in the house, and then release it from the house, as it were, to the world. It's kind of amazing. The problem is like everyone can do that, and I think it's just like an oversaturation of music and bands. And how do you, if you consider yourself to be of, good quality, but how do you sort of poke your head above everybody else that's doing it?
See, there's just, as you say, it's just too much. You're going back. I used to have an album and play it to death.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've got so many albums and you probably don't listen to them as much as you used to. I remember when like the Joshua Tree come out, or one of Maiden's albums, you used to get it and play it to death.
Yeah.
And you knew it every word, every song. But now it's not as like that, is it?
No.
It's sort of
certain albums you do, but sometimes.
I've got probably like about 10 albums that I always go back to.
Yeah.
Which is great. But and then past that point, it's like, whoa.
You listen to it, it doesn't grab you straight away. You put it to the back of the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it comes up on shuffle and it's like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Definitely. I do that all the time.
So I think, why people sort of say the music industry is dying on its arse is just that it's going to be very hard for anyone to make a living out of it, to be honest. Because, and mainly because of the oversaturation of bands and music out there, that's my opinion anyway. Today. Tomorrow we can be different again,
I'll catch up with you again in a few weeks and ask you again. It might be different again. Okay. All right, so just one last question, if that's okay. What's next? Obviously, you're going to finish this tour and then...
Yeah, finish the tour, put the album out, and, see what the reception is to the album. And hopefully it will be wonderful, and that will help us get out further around the world and play more gigs. And
yeah, I think we're sort of going to concentrate hard on doing another American tour at some point.
Yeah.
But really, when you're this part of the year, you start thinking about 2015. Really,
Yeah.
This is it. You sort of talk about what festivals we're doing this year, but if you're not already booked by the end of last year, then you're not going to go on a summer festival. So. I don't know. It's difficult. We're doing more and more ourselves, and that's really good. But then, we're not experts on the business side of things. So, sometimes things don't happen in the order that they should. But hopefully, this new material will bring more people to the fold, as it were, and open a few more doors for us.
Okay. And do you have any messages for our fans that will be listening to this interview? Anything to say to the listeners of Get Your Rock Out?
we hope you enjoy our new record.
Okay.
Please join us on Twitter and give us your feedback.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. Brilliant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fabulous.